before I come to the next section on finances in general for other people, probably I will talk about my own financial position and predicament in life. So this was a part of the journey which actually started like very early on, which is that when I was still in school and stuff, like I figured out that what I want in life is to be financially independent. And I figured out that I cannot be financially dependent on my dad for money. And I also realized that I am a bit of a lazy person and I'm like really lousy in terms of studies. So somehow I need to figure out this piece, and this is a really important piece in my life, right? And so when I was in second year of engineering, I found this really brilliant book. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. And yeah, I kind of made this book like the Bible in my life, and I would just read it again and again and again and again. And I just kept trying my best to implement what it was teaching. And apart from this, also, I would say reading books has helped my life quite a lot, because when I was in college, while I was not doing any engineering related studies in my life, I was reading a whole lot of other like really good books, like The Magic of Thinking Big, Success Principles, Tao Te Ching, and One Up on Wall Street, Rich Dad Poor Dad. There's just a whole lot of books that I was reading at that point in time. And what happened was, like, even though at that point I felt like I'm not doing a very good job in applying these principles to my life, like with every book I read, I felt like maybe I was applying like 5 to 10% of what I'm reading. But what I realized over time is that even that 5 to 10% of each book that I'm applying to myself kind of has this cumulative effect, that over time, I'm actually able to vastly improve the quality of my life. And in the next 5 to 6 years, the trajectory of my life completely changed from that of my peers. Like all of the people that I went to like college with, and like their life trajectory moved in a certain direction, but my life trajectory changed completely. And yeah, I would attribute a lot of that to the books that I have read in my life. And so coming to managing finances in the very early days, when they were just like the four of us and stuff like that, the thing is I was able to make investments, and like they paid off pretty well. And which is how I actually decided that, hey, I don't really need to do a job anymore and I can like chill in life, and I moved over here. And so I was financially abundant myself. So I retired at the age of 27, and then I moved, and like initially whatever financial support that a few things needed, like I was able to like give it from my side. And we were hosting travelers to stay with us, and we were charging them a little bit of money, but what was coming in through that was actually peanuts. And yeah, on that note, yeah, initially when we were doing this, like the way we were organized, that was like, okay, people come stay with us and then you can pay us whatever you feel like. And we were kind of operating on that model. And operating on that model, from our side, the intention was that we will just give the highest value to people in whatever way we can. And when you are leaving, you just give us like you compensate us in however you feel like. And then in the first year of doing that, what we understood was that people's ability to value things is really messed up. It's horrible, like truly horrible. Like they will come stay with us for 3 days, have a wonderful time, give us like 400 rupees and leave, and then go to Pizza Hut in Kodaikanal and have a pizza for 800 rupees that same evening. And yeah, so unfortunately, if you have a MRP written on it, then people are like very, okay, cool, makes sense. But if you expect people to receive value and have the position to appreciate this value and return that value, that's a dream. Like most people that I have interacted with, I realize that they simply do not have the ability to, discern value. It's unfortunate, but yeah, kind of realize that. So we were sort of operating on that model in the first year, where everything is just give as you feel like. But then we realized that, okay, it's probably not the best way to go about doing things. Now, the next issue also that I noticed was that again, talking about the financial thing, like while there's like 3, 4 of us, and I am probably in a position where I can help and sustain maybe 4 or 5 people max, not really more than that. But if we want to grow beyond that, and if we want to have a bigger size of things, then we clearly need to solve the financial problem, right? So, which is where last year I started this venture. It's called GEC, which is basically like a decentralized organization. And the thought process behind that was very simple, which is that, hey, can we bring a bunch of people with different skill sets together so that we can work together and then create different streams of revenue, which can then be distributed amongst the same people. That way is like right now, if we're able to sustain 4 people or 5 people, if we are able to bring in 4 or 5 streams of revenue, then we should be able to sustain probably 20 people, 30 people, 40 people. And depending on how many people or how much revenue we're able to bring in, that many people we can sustain, right? Was the thought process. And so last year I was experimenting with running this. And then I learned a bunch of important lessons through all of that as well, which is one of the biggest lessons that I learned last year doing this decentralized organization thing was that well, a lot of people are unfortunately stuck with the employee mindset where they need to be told what to do and you have to like follow up with them and all of that stuff. But that's not the position that I personally wanted to be in life. I did not want to be anybody's boss or manager. Like, as I said, like the clarity that I've always had in my life is that, hey, I want to chill in life. Everything else is secondary. Like if for whatever reason now, if I've been made a boss or a manager and then I am like in a position where I'm not really chilling in life, then this is a suboptimal outcome for me, right? So experimenting with that, I figured, okay, there are some of these issues. And so last year was me trying that. And then finally I figured, okay, so since the basic bottleneck that I came to understand is not really financial, because the financial bottleneck is actually a symptom. So what I figured was that the bottleneck is actually the bottleneck of the mindset, right? Which is people have dysfunctional financial blueprints in their mind. And so this year, finally, from all of those learnings that I figured out, I finally started wealth coaching people. And the way that started, actually, it just started with Kartika. She asked me to start wealth coaching her. And then a few of my other friends asked me to do it, and then friends of friends. And that's how this journey began. And then I realized that, hey, actually, this makes a lot more sense. Like in terms of creating like a decentralized organization where even giving it a name of GEC, like, because again, I know for me personally, names are not really important. Like anything can be called anything. Like what really matters is the underlying principle and the value that the people who are involved are able to appreciate and enjoy, right? Because even if we give something a fancy name, but people are not happy, what's the use? And if we have a stupid name also, but then if everyone's having a wonderful time, like, if we call ourselves Morty Town, but everyone's having a wonderful time, it's like, I'm cool, man, we call it Morty Town, who cares, right? So yeah, so that was the idea. And what I noticed is that as I started to do this is something that kind of had in my mind like much better results in terms of like transforming people's minds. And then like, of course, like, each person can then work independently on creating value, of course. And obviously we are there to support each others in that journey of creating value. We can like, motivate each others and boost each others and like, assist each others. And, if we have like some skills, we can share some of that. And if you have some resources, we can share some of that. And like, obviously, as we embark on this journey, then, as different members are able to, create more wealth and value for themselves, and that kind of motivates everyone else also. And then kind of we can like move along in that journey and solve this bottleneck, right? Because what I noticed in my journey was that this is a pretty big challenge and a pretty big bottleneck for most people, which is why they are kind of stuck doing things that they probably don't personally enjoy so much. So that's been my whole journey going full cycle with all of these things. So mostly that's about it from my side. Now I would like to open it up to all of you for question and answers. So if you would like to speak, you can just, first of all, I would appreciate it if all of you could just turn on your video cameras so that we can see all of your beautiful faces and stuff. So it's not just me talking to myself, right? And yeah, please do share all of your questions. I would be happy to clarify as many questions to the best of my ability possible. Like ultimately, we are all one, and consciousness is experiencing itself. What you are is also another conduit of reality experiencing itself. And I would hope that you have a wonderful experience as well. And if there is anything that we can share that can probably improve your experience, would be happy to share. So yes, please, with that, open to all of your questions.
Hello. Well,
Hello.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello to everyone from Palambattur. And then I have my partner Eustace sitting.
Yeah.
We're off the grid. And like coming from our car. Feeling super happy. Oh God. Okay. So don't have much questions. But Vishnu, thank you so much for sharing so much. You have helped me in my journey so much. And probably that's why I'm here, coming and sharing that you have made this happen for me. So that's the way to my house, if you guys can see. Me and Eustace are also open to any questions if anyone has. But yeah, I just wanted to express my gratitude and love and energy because it's booming out of me right now. Yeah.
Hey Vishnu, lovely story, man. That was very inspiring. So like I do have a lot of questions because I've been dealing with this for a while now. Like I did get out of the corporate life and now I'm trying to reconsidering like going back. Like, and I did realize like a lot of it has to do with a mindset. And what I see is like when you are trying to change your mindset, it requires like you have been led in a certain way all your life, and like you that all that conditioning which is built up on you. So how do you um, practice that mindset, practice that narrative in your head constantly? And the problem I see is like I always like fall back or get skeptical whether am I doing it right or like am I just like fucking things up again? Yeah.
So I can answer that one. And also you can, after I answer a question, you can ask me another question as well. Like I'm happy to answer as many questions as you have. So there's no worries on that. So coming to the programming question, right? So see, there are certain fundamental things that you need to understand, which is that if you think of your own brain, not as Hemant, but as a hardware architecture that exists. It is like a bunch of neurons which have connections with other neurons, and like you have all these pathways that are there. And if you try to kind of understand what is the mechanism behind this, what you realize is that there is sensory information which is coming, gets converted to electrical inputs, goes to your brain, goes through a network, and then sends out an output. And every time this process is happening, the whole architecture is also constantly updating itself, right? Now, the reason I talk about that is when you observe what are the inputs in your life, you will also understand what are the influences on the operating system or the programming language or the hardware architecture, which is that when you look around, you will see that there is an abundance of news. There is an abundance of social media. There is an abundance of information that is kind of flowing in your direction. And even if you talk about, let's say, a friend or a colleague, right? Like, though to you it might seem like I'm talking to another human being, but that human being is also then subjected to the same set of information. They are also watching the same Hollywood movies, Bollywood movies. They're also watching the same news. They're also in the same social media paradigm and all of that stuff. So now what this does is it creates a bubble of, information in your direction. And this is information that is constantly coming towards you, like, well, not 24 hours in a day because you're sleeping sometimes, but for the rest of the time, when you're awake, mostly this information is coming either through your phone or through the TV or through your friends and all of that stuff. Now, once you understand this phenomena, like if you had to just by yourself be like, hey, I'm going to upgrade my mind, that's a very tall ask, and it is most likely not going to happen. You're going to fail. Now, the reason for that is because there is this barrage of alternate information which is coming towards you, which is probably not very helpful, right? Rather than saying not very helpful, I would say it is quite detrimental and counterproductive. So what you can do is you can become more mindful of what is the information, what is the input channels in my life, and you tweak that. You get more of the good ones, stuff that that you actually appreciate. So one I would highly recommend is audiobooks. Just take good information and inundate your life with that. Listen to that as many times as you possibly can, right? Once a day, twice a day, how many other times you possibly can. Also become aware of your input channels. If there are some of these really negative ones, cut them off from your life altogether. If there is some sort of things which are causing more distress than help, remove them, eliminate them, right? Also, with respect to people in your life, become more mindful of who you're hanging out with, because you are an average of the 5 people that you mostly hang out with, right? And as I was saying, the people that you're with are also functions of the information that they are consuming. So it's not, see, let's say, for example, if you yourself might have come to realize that, say, TikTok is like a toxic thing and I don't really want it in my life. Or you might say that, Arnab Goswami is just giving too much filth and, I don't want so much rage and hate in my life. So I'll eliminate this information from my life. But imagine now the 5 people that you're hanging out with all the time, if they are non-stop consuming like Arnab Goswami and then they're deeply involved in all of this drama and stuff, they will bring that to you even if you are not directly consuming it. Right. So once you understand that, what I would say is become more mindful of how these things are impacting your life and try to organize your life in such a way that you are eliminating that which you don't want and adding that which you want. And the more of that which you do, your life will kind of change, and you will get the desired results that you want in your life.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to start from there as a starting point. For me, I guess it is my family right now, which I have to somehow, not pay too much attention into their words. But thanks a lot, Vishnu. Yeah, I'll let.
Any other questions you have? You said you have lots of questions.
Oh yeah. So the other question was this, you said you had made investments early on in your life which paid off well, which made you financially independent for you to start exploring other aspects of your life. And like you said, I know myself right from my childhood, the only comment I used to get was I'm lazy, right? So right now, the focus, I'm trying to focus a lot more on is again the financial part of things. I did work for 5-6 years, made savings, but ended there had been times where I ended up using them all up, and in a way as I'm trying to figure it out, I'm also depending on my family a little, I'm back home staying with them. So yeah, I was wondering, what do you is there anything which you would like to share for someone who's just getting started and not from your point of like how you started work, maybe like from financially, you were already there in a way, right? So
Well, I would say
like,
the first.
Guruji's example is also good over here. But like, I'm sure you have like a nice answer to give, so you can go ahead
yeah,
and give it.
sure.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah,
I'm
good
like
point.
willing to get like all the answers.
Yeah. So actually, probably Deepak could also share some on that front, no? Because so there are different ways in which you
I was
can
thinking
organize your
that.
life, right? And financial abundance is one way of doing it, but there are many creative ways of doing it. Go ahead, Deepak.
Yeah, what's the question again?
On the topic of organizing your life when you're financially in potentially a stressful situation or not so abundant.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I start sharing, thanks a lot, Vishnu, for putting all the energy and effort to share, open up your life in front of everyone, inspiring others and giving clues, giving a one way to move on, to the journey, to the life that you wish to live. That's wonderful. And like someone wrote, universe is user friendly. When you have that energy, automatically things keep on happening. So the way you have created or it has happened to become like this decentralized community, that's the way I have seen, noticed myself as well in multiple places. And I myself become a trigger in those places and get a lot of energy, vibes and inspiration from you all as well. Thanks a lot to Yustas, Kartika, at least those whom I have, Ganesh, I have communicated. I look forward to meet and visit more over there. Coming back to financial abundance, see, anything that our life, the way we should live, these are all outcomes like a good health or abundance or bliss. We should not run behind it. If you are running behind it, it's in itself you are like burning yourself. Uh, like the moment you start running behind something, it starts going away from you. So rather than doing that, you need to understand what are the rules of the game. Like whatever game we are playing, who made those rules and what are those rules? If you know the rule, by being in the field, you become better into it. That's it. And you enjoy the play. You don't focus on the outcome or the result. So the way I define financial abundance, financial freedom is, by the way, financial abundance and freedom is two different things. Financial freedom is a life that you wish to live irrespective of your financial situation. So it is enhancing you every time. It's not limiting you by any ways. So it's going to be different for a person working in the forest compared to a factory man. And I have seen financial slave people being billionaire in the cities, and a humble rural person being financially free. Because they know the rules of the game and they are content with those, and they know how to play with it. They have multiple ways also to deal with it. So this is another thing, diversity. If I have to quickly walk through quick steps, first one is get rid of the leaks, because that's something that we don't focus on. We always focus on running behind more and more money or more and more leads in this money world. The first thing is we need to get rid of our leaks in terms of financial leak, time leak, and energy leak. Like Vishnu gave an example of time leak, like where your information is coming from. Energy leak, where do you feel yourself elevated, with whom, in which situation, in what living place, in what working place. And same as financial leaks, like anything that you are doing just for the sake of doing, or society told you, whether it's whole life saving in marriage or in buying an apartment in the city. It's something that society do. Is that really that fulfills you? So these are all not just these leaks, but like, let's say, going out to a restaurant every day or shopping. These are all leaks. Second, we move on to like outsourcing things that we are unable to handle, but it's really important for us to someone who is enhancing their potential, like something that Kartika and Ustas are able to do. So not everybody is going to deeper into the food forest, but they are the one who enjoy that. But we all love to have those wild organic fruits, so why don't go and patch up with them, and you bring up your own creativity, your own skills, and you rely on them for their own creativity of food forest. That's like outsourcing your really key so-called expenses uh, to others, because it's enhancing their potential, but it's also important for you. It also enhance your life as well. So then third one is you convert your energetic way of being into a livelihood. Like like for Vishnu, it's not something to work in the in the in the corporate. It's giving wealth coaching or elevating mindset. That's what elevates him, and or forest retreats. That's what they try to convert their passion, hobbies, skills into their livelihood as well. One more thing I would like to add is Vishnu, in your case, it didn't work out to make it pay as you wish, but that is something any model can be literally worked out pay as you wish. It's just more holistic, and again, like you have to learn the financial game, you have to learn the game of how to make it happen, the support as you wish. And if you
Right.
know that game, then it makes even more holistic, and it's possible to work that out. So for sure, it's not for everybody to begin with, but it's for sure something for everybody to come across the way. Because if you are unidirectional, you won't enjoy it for a longer time. And that brings me to a fourth point, which is diversify. So in nature, everything works in diversity. Like we enjoy forests not because there are only bigger trees. By the way, that is called plantation, monoculture, if there are only bigger trees. You know, uh, we enjoy forests because there are rivers, streams, animals, bushes, flowers. There is a diversity, lake, humans, animals. So forest survives also because of diversity. When there is a fire, there is flood. It survives because some plants die, but species as an ecosystem, forest doesn't die. So we need to diversify as well. You know, like let's say you are relying on a typical physical in-person tourism business, and suddenly COVID hit and lockdown happened, and you are stuck. That's why diversity is important. You need to be digital, physical, 1:1, B2B, B2C, all those typical terms that we use. But diversity enhances you as well. It challenges you as well. Like just for giving an example, like Vishnu now started with wealth coaching. Maybe next step could be writing an ebook. Uh, After that could be one-to-one, even more one-to-one calls, even more Zoom calls, even abroad as well. So this is all diversifying, setting up more longer forest retreats like 6, 7, 8, 10 days. These are all parts of diversifying, but you should only diversify if it is enhancing you. And fifth one is reinvesting in yourself, like growing and the surplus energy that is reinvested in yourself, like a big, huge banyan tree. When those roots are hanging down, they touch the ground and they give the power to the mother tree directly. But the banyan tree was not doing it for that purpose. Just put all the surplus energy into those roots.
Yeah. Back.
Support as you wish way, and he's going into 1:1 direction. Why don't we club things together? This is called reinvesting in yourself. So rather than like spending our time watching whatever movies of unknown actors, or comedy shows of unknown people, why don't we have our own laughter club? And when we have our own laughter club, we enhance trust on each other. Uh, in the same way, like let's say when you go in this journey, you actually forget finance. So we started with the journey of financial freedom. You actually forget finance and you experience freedom. And then the next stage is abundance. That's why I mentioned that it's totally different, the stage of financial freedom and abundance. When you are in an abundance stage, uh, you are in a balance of your logic as well as your feminine energy of creativity, arts. Then you are looking for the ways to express yourself. You become a creator now. You are not anymore a creature which are driven by the first two chakras, of security and food, sex, and home. Now you became a creator. Now you want to express yourself. Then you express in terms of whatever, like this is one way of expression, like Vishnu has found. Like, let me share my journey and let's see where it leads for others, or it can, you can share it by a song, by theater, by arts, by painting, by sharing your energy vibes, that's the abundant life you live in. You are aligned to the universe energy in that case. So that is where it is going. Again, it's not about the finance then. Finance is a tool. So what we do is we run these raw life celebration retreats in by Kosha. What we do is we use different tools for people to reach this bliss abundant stage without like making them as an outcome. Like you can use the tool of food, or or decluttering yourself, simplifying life, or finance, or relationships, or observing yourself, self-observation, surrendering to the process, sensing and responding the way it happens in nature. And somehow, one way or another, you reach there. You find your own way. So these are all different tools. It should be, by the way, it's like ideally, everything should be used like holistically, because in a day we are eating, we are having relationships, we are dealing with finance. So ideally, both all should be used, but just to get hold on the boat, experience that to one, and each one of us have started with one and experienced the abundance from others as well. So that's how the journey starts. Yeah, it's so blissful to see a bunch of us living that life, and a lot of us catching up with that. And this is the only way, the best way, word of mouth and one is to one, inspiring each other and leading the life. And it's not really about moving to one place. Decentralized community doesn't have to be in Kodaikanal. You learn by visiting somewhere, and you design wherever you feel fulfilled. So it's also about that, decentralized can be all over the world as well. Over to you guys.
Thank you so much, man, for that wonderful answer. Yeah, so on the topic of decentralization, I would say we're already kind of all over the world. So we do have some really good friends. Right now we're sitting in Auroville in a hammock. And yeah, apart from that, we also have some good friends in Spain and in Brazil and in Israel also, and a few other places. And
Germany, you cannot forget, we have a
yeah, Germany is huge. Right. And Bangalore also, and Chennai as well. Yeah.
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 Lots of friends all over the world. I traveled 8 countries, just 3 members, not one penny on a hotel or a hostel. Like not even one penny. I traveled for a month in Europe.
That's amazing. I just wanted to thank Deepak. That was very insightful. Thanks a lot again.
Yeah. So one more thing that I can probably, yeah. Who's asking the question? Oh, that was Eustace who's saying something.
Eustace was saying that Deepak, that was very insightful and very deep, and he loved your answer.
Deepak is a kid's deep.
Sweet.